Could you up, down here? Sorry, we'll come to you.
Hello, I'm Rami from Egypt, from April 6 movement. I'm sorry I'll use Arabic to be more flexible. احنا في حركة شباب 6 ابريل يعتبر احنا اللي دعينا للثورة المصرية في 2011. وكنا صرنا ضد مبارك اوكي.
Okay, please. Yep. Okay, sorry.
I'm listening to the Bulgarian, so we are on the same side.
Okay. صرنا ضد مبارك لتحقيق كرامة. Okay, I'm Rami from April 6 movement. Okay. احنا في حركة 6 ابريل احنا يعتبر اول فصيل دعينا لثورة يناير اللي خرجنا بيها ضد مبارك ونظامه. وكنا مرينا بصعوبات كتيرة، ومرينا بعد سقوط راس النظام اللي هو مبارك مرينا بتجارب مريرة عن طريق حكم المجلس العسكري اللي ارتكب مجازر في حق المصريين، واللي كان جزء من عضو من المجلس العسكري هو السيسي اللي هو بيقود البلد حاليا. لما محمد مرسي تم انتخابه رئيسا للجمهورية احنا كنا من الفصائل اللي دعمناه ليس لتدعيم الاخوان او محمد مرسي، ولكن لتدعيم الثوره المصريه، لانه هو كان الممثل الوحيد اللي يعتبر عن الثوره المصريه، وكان قصاده رمز للثوره المضاده وهو كان احمد شفيق اللي بيمثل رمز من رموز مبارك. بعد ما احنا دعمناه هو خذلنا وخذل الثورة المصرية، وافتكر انه هيقدر يحتوي نظام القديم والدولة العميقة وادالهم امتيازات. بس للأسف هو غباءه وغباء الإخوان افتكروا ان هم هيقدروا دولة بقالها 60 سنة هيقدروا يستحوذوا عليها او يروضوها في خلال سنة ولا سنتين. وده من أسباب الفشل الكبير اللي حصل في الثورة المصرية. فكان ضروري ان احنا ننزل ضد مرسي كحركة 6 ابريل. نزلنا ضد مرسي، بس احنا نزلنا ضد مرسي عشان انتخابات رئاسية مبكرة تتعمل. انتخابات رئاسية كانت الدعوة لتمرد، وهي اجراء انتخابات رئاسية مبكرة، وهي الدعوة يوم 30/6/2013. لكن المثير الآن إن قادة الجيش والسيسي بيرجع دولة مبارك من جديد، هو بيسيطر على كل وسائل الإعلام الخاصة والحكومية. كل وسائل الإعلام الآن بتتكلم بوجهة نظر واحدة، هي وجهة نظر السيسي. هم بيمنعوا أي وجهة نظر مختلفة عنهم. أي معارضة حالية للنظام بتتحط وبتتصنف تحت جزئية إن هم إخوان أو طابور خامس للإخوان. إحنا 6 إبريل حاليا بيصنفونا إن إحنا إخوان، مع إننا إحنا ضد مرسي وضد السيسي. الدستور الجديد اللي بيتكتب دلوقتي ما حدش تم انتخاب اللجنة الخاصة بإعداد الدستور. الكلام اللي بيجينا عن الدستور إن آخر مرة الممثل العسكري في لجنة الدستور انسحب لأنه ما كانش راضي عن إن تتناقش جزئية حرية تداول المعلومات. في عقلية العسكريين إن هم مش عايزين يتداولوا المعلومات. فهو ده النظام الحالي في مصر، بيرجع النظام مبارك تاني.
Okay. Thank you very much. And no one on this side? Not one? Okay.
No one.
Okay. And then,
Okay, thank you. I have a question to Mr. Ibrahim. Dear sir, you told us what the European should do. And I want to ask you, according to you, what the Gulf regimes should do? The Saudis and the Qataris and the other regimes who intervene in Bahrain to stop the revolution from there. What should they do to let this process in our 20 countries succeed and to let the tree of freedom grow?
Okay, thanks. And one last question. Are there anyone else on this side who wants to? No. Okay, please, sir.
Okay, the question is actually for Mrs. Apostolova. My question is about, very often we think in terms of engagement. So it's the European side which is viewed often as either the national governments or the EU, and the MENA side which is viewed as both governments and civil society. My question is, what can be done in order to increase the level of civil society to civil society engagement? Not meaning sort of as if we have 4 partners here, but we talk about 3, and the 4th, which is, with the exception of Germany, where the Stiftungen actually are very much so involved. But so I'm wondering if you can talk about that too.
Okay, thanks. And one there at the back.
I also have a question to Ms. Apostolova. You were in Egypt and now in Libya. To what degree do you think European member states or European Union member states have actually acted as one and spoken with one voice in both Egypt and Libya? Beyond, of course, sort of funding projects, funding democratization, but when it actually comes to hard political choices, have they not all acted in their own self-interest in a disparate way?
Okay, thanks very much. One last opportunity, anyone? Okay, please, sir.
Thanks very much. Pavel Demes, GMF. 2 questions, one to Mrs. Apostolova and one to you, Jerzy. You have unique opportunity since you served in Egypt and now you serve in Libya. If you could compare approaches of United States in Egypt and in Libya with European Union ones, are they helping each other? Are there clashes in this? Because in previous panels we discussed these various approaches and you also urged that Europe should find out some of its own way. Is EU-US joint venture or not? And how would you assess it in both countries? And if you want to extend it to broader region, it would be just fine. Because in Bulgaria, Central Eastern Europe, and since I'm Slovak, I think Americans and Europeans during transitional period in helping democratization rather cooperated and went hand in hand. Is this the same in the region or not? And Jerzy, you mentioned, since both of us serve on the executive committee of European Endowment for Democracy, you mentioned and urged us to think about leadership development, that it's not good enough to just sort of support project, but we need to see leadership evolving, emerging. And I fully agree with this, but once you are in few months in office, do you see that we do enough to encourage leadership development, not giving away grants? Because very often I think, and I'm a little nervous watching the last 3 years, what's going on in Arab world, that usually we look at how much we gave, with whom, but it's connected with consistency. But if we are consistent that we are helping leadership development, how would you define leadership development in MENA region, and what should we do actually to develop leadership? Because very often I think we are mixing things. If we are supporting blogger is blogger, not leader. If we are supporting something else, but we call it, we are putting under the umbrella leadership development or almost anything because it sounds trendy, but at the end of the day there are not powerful leaders emerging both in civic sector or political. We are dealing with rather amorphous group of people or organizations. Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much. Just last question.
Thank you. It is about the process of democratization, European process of democratization in the southern shore of the Mediterranean. We passed from the conditionality to the positive conditionality through the concept of more for more with the 3 M's, etc. In my sense, in this concept, you need, and also we need, a big carrot. The carrot was what the Eastern European side, the integration in the European Union. But such a carrot don't exist with the. Can the mobility, free circulation, can be this carrot or not?
Thank you very much. Okay, we have about 12 minutes, so I will ask the panelists to respond to questions where they really want to intervene, and please be short. Okay, who wants to?
Most questions were to Nataliya.
It's okay. Maybe I start.
Well, we don't really have time for the second round, so.
Yeah, I would say that 12 minutes are not enough to answer all these questions. Because, no, I mean, that's why I guess that all of us, we are going to talk more as a presentation touching on all your questions. First of all, I want to tell you that I'm so happy to be here because I feel at ease. I see people from Libya, I see people from Cairo, I see people from 6th of April movement whom we were supporting very much during the revolution, Ahmed Maher, a very good friend. So thank you so much for such a nice public. I'll start by this. The transition is a lengthy and bumpy process. One of our presentations during the revolution, the first days when Mubarak fell, was the Visegrad group brought a workshop in Cairo, and they brought the people from the round tables of their countries to speak to the people who are Ahmed Maher and others, the new youth, the people who are making this democratic revolution. And then one person, I will never forget that, got up, took the microphone and said, in how many days we are going to go to our normal life and the democracy is going already to be in place? This is exactly the question. We need patience. It is going to be a very lengthy process. It doesn't go overnight. Especially in these countries where they are so different from our culture, tradition, religion. So we have first to have extremely strong patience. What the European neighborhood policy changed. Before the revolution and before the Arab Spring, actually, the ENP was a very, in a way, thinking in the box process. I'm sure that Bernardino Leon yesterday spoke about that, but I'm going to touch only on several issues. First, we brought the issue of mobility, which is extremely important for this region. The issue of mobility is not only protecting our borders. I want to disperse that notion, and I'm sure that some will argue with me because they're going to give me the example of the agreements for readmission, which we are proposing to these states. But it is not only on that. What we are doing as European Union delegations and representatives and all our member states there, we are pushing these new governments to join international conventions which are securing human rights, which are securing asylum seekers, and this is the most essential issue what we have to do, because once the country is committed by the international law, which is prior to the domestic legislation, we have already the instrument to push on them legally. Very recently, 2 days ago, I had a discussion with the Minister of Foreign Affairs about the asylum seekers and about the refugees in Libya, because now we are starting with the migration package. And he told me, I'm so much unhappy about UNHCR who are coming here. They have no legal status. They're dispersing these forms of asylum seekers. What can we do with them? They are already the people who are there in Libya. They are more than, let's say, 12% of our population. So this is the issue. We have to make UNHCR legal there. We have to give them the possibility to work. IOM, UNHCR, NGOs. So this is one very important issue. So I wouldn't agree that the mobility partnership and the mobility issue is only protecting us. Another important thing is more for more, exactly what you said. This is the new thing. In the old ENP, there was no more for more. Why? Because we were having the negotiations with everyone in a very thinking into the box. Now, if some countries achieve more, of course, we give them better possibilities to get more of our funding. I wouldn't say that the carrot is small. The carrot is also deep and comprehensive free trade agreements. This is extremely important for the internal market. We have many means to make these countries closer to us and to see the benefits. It just takes a question of time to explain to the Libyans, who for 40 years had no state and institutions, what exactly it will mean for them if we have, for example, the framework agreement. It just takes time. There was an issue about, I'm just thinking and fighting now to find all the questions. Maybe I stop here and the others go on and then I'll come back.
You didn't answer my question about US-EU relations.
Exactly, that's it. Very important, very important. US and EU are part of the international donors in the MENA region. We cannot not follow each other. And I would disagree with you because the EU has its own priorities. The European values are very much based on human rights issues, on protection of civil society, women's rights. I wouldn't say that the Americans are not interested in that, not at all. They had the crack in Cairo of the NGOs. The NDI and EEAS were actually expelled from Cairo. They could not participate. That's why we were helping them even to perform their agenda in supporting the human rights organizations. So, of course, we are working together, but I wouldn't say that we are having one and the same identical agenda. Each one of our member states has different agenda. For example, it's obvious all the Nordic states in the European Union are so much on the human rights. Sweden, Netherlands. They are the one leading always in these countries, promoting workshops, having very close relations with the civil society, bringing women and young people like Ahmed Maher and the gentleman here to their countries. We have brought them to the European Parliament. We are trying with all means to show them what their country should look in certain time. In Libya, it's a little bit different. The engagement between of the states in Libya, you know, of course, this terrible tragedy which happened with the American ambassador. The movement of the Americans in Libya is extremely, extremely limited. So again, we work very close with each other, all the international society, under the leadership of UNSMIL. This is one difference which you have to bear in mind, that there is a Security Council resolution which puts under the umbrella of UNSMIL all international donors. So the key word here is coordination, because the coordination between the international donors is going to bring the success. I'm not going to talk about the agendas of different member states because it's a very long story, but let's say that I think that in these countries we have very good coordination between our member states.
Okay, thanks very much. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. Well,
a few minutes.
Okay, good. Well, with what's left with the 12 minutes. Well, I'll begin with your question then. The major theme for me here is that the commitment to human rights and the will of the people cannot be compromised, whether it's in the Gulf, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in the United States, period. Right? So, and that is a major problem that this region, the Middle East region, suffered from the double standard that the U.S. foreign policy was led in and implemented in the region. And again, I disagree with you. I agree that there is coordination, yes, on the micro level in terms of implementation of projects. But on the policy level, Europe has been so in alignment and consistent with the U.S. foreign policy in the region. And I don't want to mention so many examples, but we all know, the rehabilitation of the Gaddafi regime before the Arab Spring, and we know the position on Ben Ali, and we know the position on Egypt, which leads me to the next question on Egypt, actually, which is, it doesn't, for me, again, it's the commitment to the principle and the commitment to the process. In Egypt, it doesn't really, I know that Morsi and the Ikhwan did so many mistakes, but it doesn't, for me, it doesn't really matter who's winning or who was winning in Egypt. The most important thing for me, and what I would expect from the Europeans and the Americans, is that the commitment to a democratic process and embryonic democratic process that was starting in Egypt, and yes, with all the mistakes that Morsi did, is that I was expecting or I was hoping to see these things being changed or protested against, using democratic means, democratic tools, not by a military coup that crushes this newborn democratic principle with the silence or with the confusion, with the confusion of the U.S. and European policymakers on what position should we take and how we should deal with this. That is the level that I am talking about. And again, the examples are so many. Palestine, I mentioned another example, which is also, let me critique also Sofia Platform here. I mean, the word Palestine was mentioned from yesterday as only one time. And this is it's the elephant in the room. I mean, don't think that this is, if we're talking about Tunisia today or about Libya today, that the Palestinian issue is forgotten. This is anything that can change in Palestine will reshape the entire region. Everything will change. So don't wait for the last minute until you make your position and you start to see how things are going to go there. I want to end with, on a good note, there is an opportunity, and a serious opportunity for Europe and also for the US, is to change the policies that were led over the past decades in this region. I don't want to remind the Europeans that there is a history of colonization in the region. And this history of colonization in the first part of the 20th century was exacerbated with the double standard policies that was led in the second half of the 20th century region. I'm not sure when there will be the next Arab awakening or when there will be the next Arab Spring. Now is the time, and now is an opportunity, is to commit to the principle and to commit to the democratic process and to commit to the values. Human rights cannot be compromised, and the will of the people cannot be compromised either. And now is the time. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will have to wait for the next Arab awakening, which I cannot help you with that. I cannot tell you when that will be in order to change the policies on the macro level. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Final word goes to you.
Thank you. I will be brief as time is running out. First of all, to our friend from Libya about creating youth platform, just go to our website, push button, apply for support. And once you enter, this is just 3-page, very short application form, you will get support to establish a youth platform. And this is answer to you, Pavel, also. Here are our leaders. We need to invest in them. We need to find them. We need to go out of the box. That is obvious. And you know this as well as I know. The blogger is a leader, but is a leader online.